Hello and welcome to Double Edge. I'm Govindraj Ethiraj. India has roughly 96,000 kilometers of national highways. The big question is, where could we go to, given all the effort that the government is putting in the next 15 to 20 years? And more importantly, are we going to have safer roads? And that's a very critical question, particularly for a country which sees almost 400 road deaths a day. Joining me to answer these questions is Raghav Chandra, Chairman of the National Highway Authority of India and the man in charge. Mr. Chandra, thank you very much for speaking with us. So let me ask you a broader question first. The National Highway Authority of India has got a lot of projects on its plate. I was looking at some numbers. Last year some 623 crores worth of tenders were put out by the government, and of that about 263,000 crore were only for roads. And I'm assuming a substantial part or some part of that would be NHAI as well. So things seem to be moving.
Yes.
Can you tell us where this is happening and how fast is it moving in your own understanding and your own expectation?
Well, keeping in view the larger mandate and vision which the current government has spelt out, which is to ramp up the infrastructure upgradation program, National Highways Authority of India as one of the prime agencies for orchestrating this large endeavor has taken upon itself to accelerate in all directions and to do far more than it ever did before. So this includes award of projects. So in the past, last year we awarded some 4,500 kilometers worth of projects, which costed about for an envelope size of say 60,000 crores. We expect to be able to bid out clearly double that amount and to be able to do substantially more also in terms of actual delivery and construction of roads.
Right. So let me again, just to put things in perspective for someone who may not be following this closely, right? So roughly 3.3 million kilometers in India. About 96,000 kilometers are under your ambit, which is the National Highway Authority of India. Now, of this 96, I'm assuming this is all complete and ready to use or being used as we speak.
Some part of it is with the state governments, but a large part of it is with the National Highway.
Now, if you were to look ahead, how many kilometers are we adding and what is the period of completion for this?
I would say that over a period of the next 5 years, we should have been able to tackle converting all the 2-lane highways to 4-lane highways and to be able to upgrade the existing 4-lane highways which are not yet in good shape into good shape. And this whole task clearly means that we would not only have to keep dealing with roads which are already which exist where there is some alignment, but also undertaking new roads and expressways. So it's clearly a job which will take from 5 to 7 years. But over this 5 to 7 years, I think as a nation and National Highways Authority will play a major and significant role in this entire task. We should be able to complete the upgradation seamlessly of the entire 1 lakh kilometers of highways, national highways, to 4-lane level to a minimum, and to ensuring that basic road safety features, which is the usual refrain which citizens have, that roads are not safe, that they are not equipped with the right street furniture, the road furniture, all that will have been taken.
Right. So I'll come to safety in a moment. So how much would we add in terms of route kilometers, let's say, to the 1 lakh roughly that we have today in 5 to 7 years time, the period that you spoke of?
In terms of the total length, I think the length will only increase by about 20 or 25%, but we will have ensured over 5 to 7 years that all these roads become 4-lane minimum.
Right. Now, if we were to look at roads that are being constructed today, or let's say the 20% that we will add, how is this decided? Again, layman's question. Is it decided by economic necessity, political necessity, or what's the hierarchy that we follow?
Very good question. So the hierarchy is really the actual requirement on the ground by the various stakeholders, and the economic necessity is certainly the most overriding priority. and the economic imperative is usually translates into a political imperative also, because after all, as soon as transport associations and citizens, they perceive the need to upgrade a particular road, they approach the local member of parliament, who then approaches our ministry, and so it's all a considered deliberated upon decision in which the National Highways views are taken, and that's how it is decided.
So again, coming back to that 20%, so if you were to look for the next 5 to 7 years, what would be the geographical split of this additional route kilometers that we're adding, and then separately the upgradation that you
So the back of the envelope calculations that we've already initiated for strategic planning takes into consideration the gaps that there are in existing highways, which are absolutely important to fill up. We are looking at economic corridors where 60 to 70% of our freight moves, right? So for instance, Agra to Mumbai. Now we do have connectivities, but they are not necessarily the most efficient connectivities. So to bring them, in a geometrical kind of way, as straight line as possible within the given circumstances. So economic corridors, corridors which link industrial estates, ports, SEZs and such like, and where maximum freight transport takes place today. The idea is to improve logistics. The idea is to improve the transactional competitiveness of Indian industry by providing them this support and reducing travel time.
Right.
So this could mean, for instance, a pilgrimage center. It could mean a major tourist center. All these would be taken care of through these corridors. So I expect at least a 20 to 25% increase in the number of highways over the years, because all this will have to be taken on board.
Right. So in terms of pressure points, I mean, between, let's say, reviving flagging projects, which you are obviously working on right now, between the expansion and the addition of route kilometers, and deciding where you want to actually go, what is the most stressful, perhaps, if one may call it that?
Yeah. So the key task which I have on my plate is really to get it all going and every which way. So it is not just about languishing projects, but also about new projects. And the essence of it all is that we should be able to tackle all these stakeholders and ensure that the roads are of a high quality, that the financing that comes onto the roads is efficient, good quality money, being well monitored and by good companies, that good developers come onto the road sector. So it's imperative to bring in new developers, competent developers, efficient developers, good managerial talent. Important for me to in-house get the best managers that I can get on my road projects, to ensure that they are honest, efficient and ethical and capable, and also to ensure that stakeholder interests are taken aboard as well as possible.
Right. So just a quick question on languishing projects. So if you were to look back now at maybe a dozen projects, let's say, that you've been working on with developers, banks, financiers, all the stakeholders and state governments, what has been the biggest bugbear in this? Is it because money has run out, or, I mean, I'm sure there are a bunch of reasons, but what's the biggest one?
The biggest bugbear is that banks have been very, very reluctant to come forward, because there have been provisioning norms which have made it rather tight for them, and they've suddenly become more introspective about whatever actions they have taken. Concessionaires have used some of this money for various other projects and have not been as managerially efficient as they ought to be. So it's basically bringing them all together, which has been difficult, and we've managed to put forward a revival package and get it approved by my high-powered board for 3 projects already, and one of them is close to Mumbai, so you should know, Indore, Panvel. And once such projects get going, I'm sure this is going to send all the other banks also into revival mode, and I'm happy to say that they've already started contacting us, and we should be able to put together revival packages of several of these projects which are doable. Right. Some, of course, will still hit the sack.
Okay. When you say hit the sack, you mean you'll have to give them up, or?
I may have to terminate them. So I'm still trying.
And
if the
will it
developers
terminate and
can
take
bring,
over completely, or is it terminated?
no, we will have to rebid for those projects, and we are trying still to see if the developers can somehow manage to bring in funds, because ultimately it's a question of bringing in funds on the table and getting the project going.
Right. So safety, which you referred to earlier, I mean, the NHAI, the government, the minister, I mean, everyone has been talking about it, and there's no doubt that a lot of people are focused on it. India has about 400 deaths a day today, more than 1.46 lakhs deaths in a year. It's actually much more than China, which has much more roads. Also, a country like China, which saw the building of roads recently, so arguably road behavior is something that they too are getting used to. So why have we not been able to fix this?
Yeah, because one of the reasons for this is that most of our roads were built through habitations. So in most cases, we are only retrofitting our roads. We are now, of course, attempting to build in greenfield expressways and such like, but such problems occur where you are passing through heavy habitations and you have not, because of a paucity of funds or because you wanted to make your project viable under a PPP mode so that it would fit within the norm. So you excluded adequate features such as flyovers, vehicular underpasses or pedestrian underpasses, foot over bridges and such like, and crash barriers. But we are now taking a cautious look at all these and how to retrofit them. We have got a safety audit conducted through experts for almost 50% of our highway projects, and another 50 we should be able to do over the course of the next 1 year, and constantly attempting to retrofit them with safety features.
Right. No, and I'm not even saying that it's your fault, because more than 70% is really driver error or driver either speeding or maybe intoxicated.
But engineering is an important thing,
Yeah.
and it's necessary to do it irrespective of whether there's an accident or not.
Right.
Even if there's a potential cause for accident, we'd like to cover it up.
Right. No, but if there is a fundamental problem when it comes to attitudes, again, maybe this is not something that one has to deposit at your doorstep, but is that something that we need to focus equally on? Maybe it's some other departments?
My personal understanding as a field administrator of 33 years standing is that you require constant vigil and patrolling on Indian highways to be able to improve the kind of propensities which Indian drivers have. And for this, we are commissioning a consultancy to get the best international practices on how to patrol our roads and provide emergency services, event control, and to ensure that ambulances and safety features are constantly monitored, invigilated, and drivers guided and corrected.
Right. So last question. So in the next 1 or 2 years, what's the sort of milestone that you're likely to hit in contrast to the? So just to go back, so we said we're at about 1 lakh of kilometers today. You said in about 5 years' time we should be about 1,25,000 kilometers
of national highways.
So where are we going to be in about a year's time?
That's a good question. We will have started off a lot of projects. I would expect that we should have started off on another 7 or 8,000 kilometers of upgradation work. We should have covered the safety audit of all our highways. We should have completed safety features on 50% of our highways. We should have a more expanded and a more ubiquitous program of electronic tolling and RFID tags on our highways. And we should also have ensured that patrolling and emergency management on our highways is done in a more seamless and better manner.
Right. That's heartening to hear. Thank you so much, Mr. Chandra, for speaking to us.
Great.
Thank you.